Hi everyone, I'm GREYMOND. We're going to be answering questions about OCD recovery today, and let's get started. These questions are the ones you answered below any of my videos, so if you want to give me a question that I will answer on the next show, please leave it below this video or any other videos. So the first one is, I tend to feel over-responsible for other people's issues and worry that if I don't speak up about something and something bad was or something bad happened, then I will be partly responsible and feel guilty. Caring and being responsible are my characteristic traits, but how do I know when they become OCD? Do I become like some people and just say I'm only responsible for myself and don't worry or take care of others? Especially feeling more responsible for children and vulnerable people. Okay, yeah, so I think that generally people who have OCD tend to be more sensitive people and people who are just care more generally. This responsibility type of OCD, and that is actually a theme of OCD, is responsibility OCD is very common for like something that I see a lot for people who have OCD. In terms of when is it actually okay to speak up and when it's not, I would say really the best way to do it is to see how somebody who you admire, somebody who you know well, how would they react to this? So somebody who has similar moral characteristics as you do, how would they react to this? Would they make a big deal out of it or not? Now, this is not a permission to do reassurance, but generally, you know the person well, so you can say, you know what, they probably wouldn't make it a big deal, or maybe they would, and kind of going about it that way. At the same time, it's if you feel like you know, with OCD, it's fear-driven. So if you feel like this is fear-driven, so you're not so much even, if you think about it, right? You're not even so much worried about what if something happens, like you were saying, like to a child or to a vulnerable person in some way, right? But you are more worried that you will be responsible. So it becomes more about your situation rather than about the other person. Then that sounds like OCD. Because it's not, even though it starts out as being a care about somebody else, at the same time, it's still about, but what would happen to me if I don't, you know? So it's kind of, rather, if it wasn't OCD based, you would only be concerned about the other person and not of the consequences of what would happen to you in that situation. Right? Because because OCD is always about protecting from harm, right? So it's, even if you're technically only trying to protect others, it's still, well, I am responsible, you know, and then and still kind of comes back to the person. So I would say, but even, you know, since you're asking me on this channel, right, it sounds like, you know, it's OCD because, again, whenever you're saying what if, that's OCD already. What if this is OCD? Yes, it is. So it always works like that. And I'm telling you, 8 years of helping people recover always works the same way. Always, you know, if you're worried, if it's a what if, it's OCD. Next question is, can OCD be hereditary? You know, I mean, this is kind of something I'm interested in as well. And I'm the kind of person that's really into analytics and statistics and all of that. These are probably the type of people that are more prone to getting OCD, I'm not sure, but you know, I'm very interested in statistics, and I have 8 years of statistics, and I can tell you that I don't really see a steady situation with that. Sometimes I have clients who have had OCD in their family. Sometimes I get clients who nobody had OCD in their family. You know, for example, I can tell you, if in my family nobody had OCD or any severe mental issues. You know, maybe there's like, you know, kind of extended like cousin of a cousin kind of idea, but no one in my immediate family had any kind of issues. So with that, I think it's only I think it depends, you know. So I don't really see a steady situation with that where it's always like that, where if, you know, it's always hereditary or it's always not. So it just kind of depends. I have to do a survey on this, but I just haven't had enough time to do this. But I wanted to add the hereditary part to the survey to see. And, and the other part of it is, in every family, there's somebody who is just a little more sensitive. There's somebody who's just a little more anxious, somebody who's just a little more angry, I don't know, a little more depressed, right? So it's hard to pinpoint that to be connected to the person having OCD, So next question is, I want to know the theme of my OCD. It started with religious questions, and now it's more philosophical, like how can you prove that there is the past before you can say prove that something you can see with your eyes is real. Maybe all the people are not real, all the people are aliens. Questions that you can't prove, and more like metaphysical questions, kind of like the movie The Matrix. Is this OCD? What is the theme? And yes, I mean, if this is giving you fear, if this is coming across as something you have to analyze over and over and over again while feeling in panic, yes, that is OCD. The theme, you can say that it's kind of started out with religious OCD, and I've heard of the term being used, philosophical OCD or depersonalization OCD as well. I'm not sure, it's kind of in the middle of those. So next question is within this one as well. Also, when I'm not responding to the thought, my brain sends me much more in all directions. Yeah, that sounds like definitely OCD. Okay, and the person gets a headache. Yeah, again, headaches are very, very common with OCD, and it's just because your brain is overworked. Also very important, sometimes I don't feel well, and I know it is because of the thoughts, but I can't only feel the physical symptoms, and the thoughts are not here, like they're in the back of my mind. Headache, feeling down. Can you behave with that when the thoughts are not here, but the impact is here? Okay, yeah, this just sounds like, it really just sounds like typical OCD, and it's, the more you're paying attention to these thoughts, even like saying, why am I having these thoughts? What does that mean? What's causing this? You're driving the condition further by giving it fuel, so stop powering it up. Anything to do with this type of theme, with you trying to figure any of this out, it's OCD, don't do it, Not allowing yourself to buy into this. It's a choice. And when you're not buying into it, you're not actually doing anything to suppress the anxiety, right? So the anxiety is going to be there. You have to be prepared that it will be there, that it's not going anywhere for now. But by stopping your mind from over-analyzing this thought, right? You're not allowing it to go further. Again, I know a lot of people listen to this show every week, but also a lot of people are new here. So just to explain how the brain works, is the brain sees whatever it is that you're worried about. It doesn't understand it in the terms of the way a conscious brain would understand it, such as, this is moral, this is immoral, this is good, this is bad. It only understands it like a computer understands ones and zeros. It understands it as code, okay? So that part of the brain understands it as code. It sends you that specific code, and then, so say, like, let's name the code 1112. So it sends you the code 1113. You don't react. 1114, no reaction. 1115, no reaction. 1112, oh, bingo, reaction. You reacted. The brain now puts a little check mark next to that. This signal is important. Now, how is it important? Again, that part of the brain can't figure it out. How is it important? Well, is it giving you feelings of happiness? No. Okay, so it's not important in the happiness way. Is it giving you feelings of stress, anger, anxiety? Okay, so it's a negative thing. So it's giving you fear. Okay, so you're reacting with fear. That means that signal 1112 is dangerous, right? Because if you're reacting with fear, logically it means that it's dangerous, right? So, okay, so now you're in danger because of the signal of 1112. Let's send you more of that to try to protect you from it. Again, this entire time, the brain has no idea what this is about. It could be about anything under the sun. It doesn't matter. The brain understood that 1112 is something you're reacting to with fear, and the other ones you weren't. So let's send you that one over and over again to make sure that you are aware of it and you are protecting yourself. That is basically the mechanism of how OCD works. The more you pay attention to it, the more you buy into it, the more you power it up with energy by continuously reacting. So it sends you 1112 again and again and again, and you react again and again and again. You're falling for the same trick, and at the same time, you're sending the brain over and over again the signal that, yes, still important, still valid, please send me more, over and over again. So you're keeping the condition going. It's very important that you understand, you don't need to name the theme, but you can just say, you know what, anything to do, like with this question here, right? Anything to do with philosophical, religious, metaphysical type of stuff, that's giving me anxiety is OCD. I'm not reacting to any of it. Or a person who thinks that they're gonna kill somebody or that they have killed somebody, like a false memory OCD, right? Again, anything to do with this theme, I'm not reacting. And what happens when you do this is your brain sees that, okay, well, just to continue with what I was saying, right? Sent you 1112 again, no reaction anymore. Okay, 112 again, no reaction again, right? Now the brain's like, oh, why isn't there a reaction? I better send it to you on full power to see what you will do. And then at this point in recovery, and this is actually recovery, even though it might not feel like that to the person starts to first get more thoughts. The brain is rebelling against you. It wants to protect you. It's kind of like you're walking on the red light, and at first it warned you, don't cross the street on the red light. But now you're crossing, and now your brain is yelling at you to not cross the street on the red light because now you're in extreme danger. That's how the brain is viewing it, because again, it was programmed before to view this kind of signal as dangerous. So that's why it's doing that. That's the first stage. Eventually, the brain understands that no matter what it sends you, you're not reacting. And this is where it takes guts, it takes all the strength and power that you have to do this. Okay? So that's the first stage. Is you're expected to be, like I always say, you're expected to be the strongest in the OCD recovery when you're actually at your weakest. So it's guys, it's how it is. You have to deal with this. You know what I mean? You have to be strong, and you just have to push through that first stage, okay? Now, okay, so a week goes by, you're still not reacting to anything to do with this theme, as much as you possibly can. I mean, it's never a perfect process, but as much as you possibly can, you're refusing reaction. A week goes by. So now the brain is saying, okay, well, I've done all I could. Maybe it's not dangerous. I guess, the person is fine. Nothing really bad has happened, maybe it's fine. And then it starts to adjust, and the feelings get weaker, and the anxiety goes down, and you're still getting the thought, but the anxiety that was once through the roof, level 10, is now like a 6, or, eventually like a 4, and like a 3, and then it goes away. That's the process of getting OCD, understanding what you're doing wrong, starting recovery, and finishing recovery. That is the entire process, and you just have to understand what's happening in every stage, so you're anticipating it, and when things happen, you're prepared for it. So you're not surprised by it, and it doesn't really matter what kind of thought it is, because it's just what your mind comes up with. That's fear-based, and I find that just because I've been talking to people over the course of 8 years, right? That it's when things, like right now, it's pretty crazy if you look at the news and with what's happening and mass shootings and all of that, right? I get a lot more clients who have fears, that are harm related than before, because it's in the news, you know what I mean? And it's like whenever something in the news happens, it's very common to get triggered, so it's not you having this thought. This thought is coming on autopilot. Don't react. Just don't react. Don't give it energy. Just allow it to be there. No energy, pushing through. Over and over and over again, just pushing through. Oh, and here's another question. This is exactly what I was just talking about. What keeps someone with OCD, specifically harm OCD, from acting on the thoughts? I always fear, I secretly want the thoughts. So it's confusing. Okay, so first of all, the reason why you are scared and the reason why this is giving you such anxiety is because that is the worst possible thing that you think could happen to you, is that, you do harm to somebody else, right? So it's, again, a person who actually does harm is not worried about it. To them, it's not a problem. That's the difference. So but what I feel like I like these thoughts, or I feel an urge, or I feel, all those sentences start with I feel. OCD controls 100% of your feelings. So while you're having OCD, your feelings are invalid, you're not believing them, you're not paying attention to them, viewing them as just an error. Because OCD always grabs onto feelings. So it doesn't matter what OCD is telling you in terms of feelings, it doesn't matter. It's not valid. You know what I mean? You're just going, not even with logic, because logic is kind of solving the situation. What you're saying is that I'm just following step by step this recovery system, so I don't care. I'm not digging into it. I'm not trying to figure it out. I'm not trying to reassure myself. I'm just following the system. And you'll see, like, once you recover, you'll see that all of these thoughts were nothing. It's, like I said, 8 years. No one has killed anybody. Nothing bad has happened to anybody. Nothing, it's just lies. OCD lies, it doesn't matter how real it feels. It's still just a lie. Next question is, my mom is getting me, it's, like, this is the kind of, if people ask me why I do what I do, in terms of helping people recover from OCD. And this is a comment that kind of illustrates that. The person writes, my mom is getting me one of your books for Christmas. I'm recovering, but it's going super slow. I feel partly because the rest of my life is so stressful, I can't put all of my energy into recovery. Excited to have the extra help. First of all, just email me, okay? Email me at info@youhaveocd.com, so you're not waiting. And, I've been there. I've been there for years. When I was recovering, when you don't care that it's Christmas, you don't care that it's New Year's, whatever holidays you celebrate, you don't care. You just want to feel better, and it's the feeling of being totally lost within the feelings and within the emotions, and it's like, I cannot possibly understand you any more than I already do, because I've been there, and it's ridiculous that we don't have more help, when it comes to doctors and whatever, it's, they most of them don't care enough to do the extra research. I understand they probably don't get a lot of clients with OCD, but just to put medication and expect it to work, and then when it doesn't, to up a dose, is not okay in my book. And that's what I pretty much see most of the time, and that's what I do, because there is so much help that's needed all around the world with this. The OCD makes you feel so isolated. It makes you feel like you're really the only one having these thoughts, the only one having these feelings, and it's just, the person really, you feel all alone. You feel like nobody wants to help you, nobody can help you, and you don't know what to do. And guys, if you're listening to this and you're going through this, you can recover. It's not a life sentence, and it feels, like, I remember when I was recovering, I felt like I would never recover. It felt so severe and so crazy, but you can and you will recover if you follow this method. Just follow it. My recovery program is there if you want extra help and if you want me to do it with you. But if you're just doing it by yourself, just follow the method and go for it, and just keep going for it until you fully recover. There's nothing stopping you from recovery except taking that leap and deciding that, I'm not going to buy into these thoughts anymore. Who cares if they're scaring you. Who cares if they're giving you images or feelings or urges or whatever? It doesn't matter. It's all a big lie. It's just fake, It's just about not paying attention to it. So, and just pushing through like that. But it's, just to the person who wrote this comment, just email me at info@youhaveocd.com. So next question is, I have PRO, specifically a religious one. Most of them I have overcome, but there's a new thought which is causing me more trouble. I don't know whether it is OCD or not. Most likely it is if you're writing it on here. But I keep thinking about it is, the person is writing about pregnancy and what if OCD becomes worse during pregnancy. So I decided not to have another child. And in addition to that, I have financial issues. So with this, even though this is a real question in terms of feeling guilty and about having more kids or not. Again, OCD grabs onto real issues. Most of the time when people have an OCD thought, it starts out with some sort of a situation that somehow triggered the person, right? But the situation is insignificant, such as I saw somebody on the news kill somebody, right? And now I think that what if I could do that? Or I heard that somebody had a hit and run. Maybe that was, what if that was me? Or what if it could be me? Or something like that, or somebody said something to me and I worry what they really meant, or you know what I mean? Like it's all kinds of things. It starts out as a real event, but the real event is like nothing, but it creates much more in your mind. And this is this kind of similar situation is you're making a choice. What you want to say here is it kind of sounds like OCD is grabbing onto it. What you want to do is you want to say, you know what, I'm making a choice to not have the kid, to not have another kid, and that's it, and that's it. I'm sticking with that choice. I'm not allowing myself to analyze this any longer, because it's the anxiety, the anxiety can create more OCD thoughts. So again, even though this is kind of a real situation, the amount of worrying you're doing is obsessive. So you're saying, you know what, no more. But again, like I don't know if I would classify this as OCD specifically. I would say that this is just anxiety, but you are obsessively worrying about it, Next question is, who is experiencing headaches like pressure or something tightening in your skull while refusing to play the game of OCD, refusing reassurance? This headache remains with me all day. Any solution to that? You need to allow your mind time to relax. That's really the best solution for it, because your mind is overworked, your mind is overstressed, and you need to allow it time to actually physically relax. So meditation, sleeping longer, any kind of relaxation technique that you're doing, and even things like prayer, helps, right? It's if you're religious, right? That's okay, as long as you're not getting into religious OCD, because I get a lot of that, those kinds of questions, right? Does prayer count as meditation? It can, as long as you're not experiencing religious OCD. But any kind of relaxation technique that works for you is good. You want to reduce stress in real life as much as possible. Now, that's not to say that you shouldn't be stressed at all and you should be creating kind of a sterile environment around yourself. No, you should have things going on. You should be living life as if you don't have OCD, but to throw everything on yourself as you are in the process of recovery, that's not a good idea. Allow yourself space, mental space to recover, and then take on those other projects. So another person was asking, I'm not going to mention specifically what kind of bodily function, just not to trigger people, but about different bodily functions. And I mean, this is such a common question. I get this all the time, with questions on here in sessions, so it's just not reacting. It's just not reacting. It's a bodily function question of what if this is OCD. I'm not solving it. I'm not trying to figure it out. I'm just letting it be. And not specifically with bodily functions, sometimes it's like breathing or something like that, right? It's not testing it, not trying to figure it out, because that just gets you in deeper, No doing research online, nothing like that, because that's the reason why you're getting this OCD, because of all the reassurance. So I have 4 minutes left. So I'm going to do last question here, and then I'm going to do part 2, because it looks like there's quite a few more questions. So I have paranoia OCD. Is that just regular OCD or something more? So experiencing, because OCD is an anxiety-driven situation, a disorder, whatever you want to call it. It's anxiety-driven, and as is paranoia. So, in terms of labeling, some people, can, especially like doctors, they go really far with this is this, but this is that. But really, it's all anxiety. OCD is just extreme anxiety, to the point where the person is not seeing things rationally, And I think paranoia is really kind of categorized in a similar way. So I would say that they're connected, or, it's the way you're treating OCD in terms of not reacting, not giving it energy. So the brain loses the connection between fear and this specific thought, your specific theme. It's the same process with paranoia, that there's something that makes you paranoid. There's a trigger that makes you paranoid, right? So whatever that is, not showing fear to it. You're just allowing it to be there. Like I always say in every show, it's going over here, you're here. You're not moving your attention away from here. Yes, it's still there. Yes, it's still giving you anxiety, images, urges, whatever it is, it's there. You're here and you're focused on being here. So, and you will see that the paranoia will go down as you are doing that. It's the same exact process. So, okay, I'm going to end it here just because I'm running out of time, and then I will do part 2, and I might be able to do another video for you, because I just want to get as much videos on this subject as I can. I know people have been asking me for theme-specific videos, so we'll get those going as well. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. If you would like to start the recovery program, it's always available on youhaveocd.com, and I will see you in the next show. Bye.